We asked 847 women over the age of 50 what parts of a man's body they genuinely notice when looking at men over 60. The third answer on the list even caught me off guard. Before you assume it has anything to do with chest size or broad shoulders, pause for a second and comment where you're watching from. The fourth body part on this list is something 91% of men completely ignore. Even though it quietly reveals how much personal care you practice, sometimes from a distance, most men only become aware of it when it's already too late. I'll walk you through all 5 parts, explain why they matter more after 60, and show you what women are actually noticing. The fifth point may sound obvious at first, but the real reason behind it can completely change how you think about presentation and presence. This is why your physical structure speaks volumes about the kind of man you are before you ever say a word. Body part number 5 is your posture, meaning the way your spine stays aligned throughout the day. I know it doesn't sound like a body part in the traditional sense, but stay with me because this is something women register before they even focus on your face. 72% of the women we spoke with said a man's posture reveals more about his everyday lifestyle than his overall fitness level. When you're standing in line at a cafe, stepping out of your car, or walking across a parking lot, women are quietly observing your overall structure. Are your shoulders rolled forward without reason? Is your head pushed out in front of your chest? Does your entire body look like it's collapsing inward? After 60, posture can decline quickly if it's ignored, and women fully understand that this change is natural. They are not comparing you to a 25-year-old. Instead, they're asking a different question in their minds. Is this man still engaged in life, or is he starting to give up? That is the message. Posture sends. It's the difference between energy and defeat. I've seen men with impressive physiques, wide shoulders, and well-defined arms who spend hours in the gym, yet they move through the world as if it has drained everything from them. Their heads hang forward, their upper backs are rounded, and their entire presence quietly says, "I'm exhausted and finished." Then there's the average man, maybe carrying a little extra weight around the stomach, but he stands tall. His chin stays level, his chest is open, and he moves like he still owns the space around him. Which of these 2 men do you honestly think gets a second interested look? The difference in perception is enormous. The instinctive message women receive is whether you are still alive and engaged, or if you've mentally and physically checked out. At 60, 65, or even 70, you don't have the advantage of hiding behind youth anymore. Your physical structure sends an instant message. The good news is that this isn't something you're born with, and it's not about height or bone shape. It's about choosing to manage your posture and movement instead of letting them slowly deteriorate over time. Make a conscious effort to stand tall. Gently pull your shoulders back and keep your head aligned with your spine. It sounds almost too simple, but most men underestimate how powerful this single adjustment is when it comes to first impressions. Next comes something just as important and far more revealing than most men realize. Your hands are the most honest body part you have. Body part number 4 is your hands. And I'm not talking about size or strength. I'm talking about the overall condition of your hands, your nails, your skin, and your basic grooming habits. Women often refer to hands as the truthful body part because you can hide so many other things. You can wear clothes that conceal your stomach. You can style your hair to mask thinning areas. You can choose glasses that enhance your appearance, but your hands are usually left as they are. And because of that, they reveal everything. After 60, signs of aging appear on the hands earlier than almost anywhere else. Veins become more noticeable, skin texture changes, and age spots appear. All of this is normal and expected. The real question women ask isn't whether your hands look young. It's whether you pay attention to small details or only to what's obvious in the mirror. Taking care of your hands takes less than a minute a week. Trimming and filing your nails, pushing back cuticles, and basic maintenance are enough. Yet, most men completely ignore this. I'll be honest with you. I've been on dates where a man's hands were the reason I knew immediately that I wouldn't continue seeing him. Not because his hands were rough or worn from work. Working hands can actually be very attractive. Calluses from lifting, building, or doing physical work signal. Activity and capability, which is a positive sign. But neglected hands with uneven nails, dry, cracked skin, and cuticles that clearly haven't been touched in months send a very different message. They suggest a man who doesn't pay attention to details, and if he ignores something so visible and easy to fix, what else is he choosing to overlook in his life? There's an important distinction here. Hands that work hard and are still cared for tell a strong story. Hands that are simply abandoned tell another. What many men misunderstand is that overly polished hands can also be a negative signal. If your hands look more perfectly maintained than mine, it can suggest you're trying too hard or seeking approval. Women sense desperation very quickly. The ideal balance is simple, clean, trimmed, and clearly maintained. Nothing fancy, nothing excessive, just proof that you still manage yourself. By this stage of life, you already know that small details matter. Your career taught you that. Your relationships taught you that. Ignoring something women notice every time you shake hands or pass them a menu just doesn't make sense. Body part number 3 is closely tied to energy, and 84% of the women in our survey rated it more important than muscle size. Body part number 3 is your neck and jawline. Before you think this is another thing you can't change, pause for a moment. This isn't about having the sharp jawline you had in your 30s. Women are realistic about aging. We know what 60, 65, and 70 actually look like. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is visible, ongoing effort that shows you still take yourself seriously. After 60, fat naturally collects under the chin. Skin loses elasticity and neck muscles weaken. This happens to everyone. The difference is that some men fight it while others completely surrender to it. Women can see that difference from across a room. There's a clear distinction between a jawline that still has definition and one that fades into the neck, and between a neck that holds shape and one that has nearly disappeared. We're not looking for youth. We're looking for self-control. Your face is the first thing people notice and the last thing they stop looking at. Genetics do play a role. Some men naturally store more fat in the neck area, and some are born with stronger jawlines, but consistent effort always shows. Overall body fat matters here more than anywhere else. Losing just 5 pounds can noticeably sharpen your jawline. Losing 10 can bring back definition you thought was gone forever. You don't need visible abs, you just need a neck that hasn't vanished. Strength training helps, especially compound movements that engage your back. Deadlifts, rowing variations, and pull-ups, if done safely, strengthen the deeper muscles that support your neck and posture. The position of your neck connects directly back to posture. If your head constantly juts forward, your neck disappears. When your head stays centered over your spine, your jawline reappears. At this stage of life, you have an advantage. Younger men don't. You understand discipline. You've built careers, raised families, and handled responsibility. Applying that same steady effort here is simply using wisdom you already have. This process takes time. Real visible change usually appears after 3 to 6 months. That time will pass regardless. So you might as well choose progress instead of decline. Take Marcus, for example. At 67, he lost 12 pounds in 4 months and added daily chin tucks and posture work to his routine. Nothing extreme. Within a month of reaching his goal weight, 3 different women approached him at a large art event. His exact words were, "I didn't realize how much I had let myself go until I saw the difference." Now, let's talk about something many men underestimate, but women notice constantly. Your forearms. Body part number 2 is your forearms. This often surprises people. Yes, forearms. They're visible in nearly every social setting. Short sleeves are common, and sleeves get rolled up when paying, reaching, or opening doors. Women see your forearms all the time, and we interpret them in a very specific way. Here's what most men don't expect. Many spend hours doing curls and pressing exercises to build upper arms and shoulders, which actually rank lower on this list. Meanwhile, forearms are ignored. That thinking is backward. Women aren't admiring forearms for beauty. We're looking for proof of ability. Strong forearms signal usefulness, competence, and capability. Can you lift something without struggle? Can you fix something? Can you handle physical tasks with confidence? This instinct is deeply rooted. It represents functional strength, and it shows more clearly in your forearms than almost anywhere else. The most common mistake men make is depending on isolated gym movements like wrist curls. On the surface, they appear helpful, but they completely miss the real purpose. What truly builds strong, impressive forearms is not tiny, repetitive exercises, but consistent use of your hands in real-life situations. Carrying heavy grocery bags, lifting and moving objects around the house, doing yard work, performing farmer's carries, or simply hanging from a pull-up bar for as long as your grip allows. These practical tasks demand sustained grip strength, and that demand is exactly what forces your forearms to adapt and grow stronger over time. Real-world effort develops forearms in a way machines never can. What makes this even more interesting is that after the age of 60, forearms respond better to training than almost any other visible muscle group. You are not fighting against the same hormone declines that make chest or upper arm growth more difficult later in life. Grip strength relies heavily on neural activation and muscle coordination, and both of these systems remain highly trainable well into your 70s and beyond. Another element that plays a role is vascularity. Not exaggerated bodybuilder style veins, but natural, defined veins that signal vitality. This kind of vascularity quietly communicates energy, healthy circulation, and physical capability, and it is noticed immediately. Women notice this far more than most men realize. There have been many moments where a man's forearms drew more attention than his face. There is something deeply attractive about hands that look capable and active, connected to forearms that appear firm and defined. It does not follow logic or rational checklists. It is an instinctive response rooted in signs of usefulness and strength. What surprises most men is that achieving this look requires no special gym schedule. When you regularly lift genuinely heavy objects, carry them farther, and rely on your hands for meaningful tasks instead of constant phone use, your forearms naturally become stronger and more defined without conscious effort. Meanwhile, many men obsess over the muscles they only see in the mirror: chest, abs, and biceps. They pour time and attention into areas that rarely show up in daily life. At the same time, they neglect the body parts that women actually observe during normal interaction. Women pay attention to signs of usefulness, capability, and engagement with the world. Forearms communicate all of that instantly without you needing to say a single word. They silently tell a story about how you live and how involved you are in your own life. But the number one body feature that reflects self-respect most clearly is also the easiest to damage or overlook without realizing it. Your eyes and your overall expression act as the true mirror of how you see yourself. This is the point where many men unconsciously shrink themselves. It is time to stop playing a smaller role. You already possess intelligence, wisdom, and life experience earned through years of effort. Now it is time to reflect that inner value outward. Everything begins with your eyes and the way you carry your expression. They are not just tools for seeing the world, they are tools that show the world who you are. Your eyes communicate seriousness, intent, and inner stability. The shift begins the moment you change how you think about yourself. Take control of your physical presence, stand a little taller, walk with purpose, move like someone who knows where he is going, even if the destination is still forming. This quiet confidence spreads through your entire body and changes how others experience you. When you enter a room, you are not merely walking in. You are sending a message that you belong there and that you have value to offer. This message is delivered before you speak a single word. Now comes the uncomfortable thought many men have, but rarely admit the idea that it is too late to start. That belief is completely false. In reality, this stage of life is the perfect time to begin. You have lived long enough to understand what truly matters and what does not. You have earned your place. At 60, 65, or even 70, You are not competing against others. Most people your age have already stopped improving. That alone sets you apart. This is your opportunity to rise above the ordinary by continuing when others quit. Do not trap yourself in overthinking every detail. Your biggest obstacle is not age, it is doubt. Remove that doubt immediately by committing to action. You do not need to transform everything overnight. Begin with small, deliberate changes. Stay present in conversations. Smile with sincerity. Keep your head level and lifted. These are not dramatic moves, but they send powerful signals. They show the world, and more importantly, yourself, that you are still engaged and capable. You still have something meaningful to contribute, and that truth deserves to be visible. Remember this clearly. You carry experience that most people will never have. You have lived fully, learned continuously, and endured challenges that shaped you. Instead of fixating on the past, place your attention firmly in the present. What lies ahead is what matters now. The core message to carry with you is simple. Your eyes and the expression behind them reveal your self-respect. Own that fully. Move through life with intention and purpose. Do not delay this shift. The right moment is now. Earlier, it was mentioned that the majority of men your age have already stopped improving. Now, the reason is clear. You are different because you choose not to stop. You are exactly where you should be. It is not too late. In many ways, this is the ideal stage of life to take. Control with clarity and confidence. You have already learned that confidence is not perfection. It is presence, it is showing up with purpose and occupying your rightful space without apology. Age is not the barrier. Hesitation is. Being in your 60s or beyond is not a limitation. It is an advantage. You possessed decades of insight, resilience, and understanding that younger men simply do not have yet. You have survived hardship and emerged stronger and wiser. Now is the time to apply that strength toward the next meaningful chapter of your life. This is where lasting change is created, not through force, but through consistency and self-respect. The outer signals you project, posture, hands, jawline, forearms, and expression reflect your inner confidence clearly. However, physical appearance is only part of the equation. Women also pay close attention to something deeper and more subtle. This next factor separates men who quietly surrender to age from those who use age as a source of authority. It is largely behavioral and it can be adjusted immediately. That factor is your voice, your cadence, and your volume. Many describe it as a command signal. No matter how strong your posture looks, if your voice is too soft, rushed, or fades at the end of sentences, the signal weakens. After 60, many men unconsciously begin speaking more quietly, more quickly, or with less clarity. This is rarely due to physical decline. More often, it is the result of years spent stepping back, deferring, or believing their words carry less weight. That habit sends an instant message of hesitation or low confidence. Women notice this immediately. They are not seeking loudness or aggression. They are drawn to presence, a voice that sounds steady, grounded, and comfortable filling space without forcing it. Think of men you respect deeply, leaders, decision makers, men who appear at ease with themselves. Their voices share a calm depth. They speak clearly, deliberately, and without rushing, and that alone commands attention.